All right, so we've already learned the graph part where you just what I just went over. And so now we're going to start learning or preparing to solve quadratic equations using the quadratic formula. So using the quadratic formula, there are a few steps. So today we're just going to learn the first few steps. So at the end of this lesson, you want to be able to identify A, B, and C. So in a quadratic equation, the standard form of a quadratic equation, this is our first thing we want to write down, which is standard form. It is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. This is our standard form. So you want to write that nice and big at the top of your paper. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. I have A, B, and C in blue because those are numbers, and those are, that's the parts that we find once we have it in standard form. So the next thing, in order to use the quadratic formula, the equation must be in standard form, because this is how we figure out what A, B, and C are, and they will later go into formula. So we have 3 examples here. The first example, so remember, if I want to get this to look like the standard form, that is this first box in the table is to put this in standard form. So instead of the 3x on the other side of the equal, I want this to equal 0. So if I have 3x of something, if I subtract that from there, I will then have 0 over there. But I have to do that on both sides. So I'm going to subtract 3x here and subtract 3x on this side. That is going to give me 2x squared. And I'm putting this in order, so that means I'm going to write my x term next. So that is a negative 3x. And then plus 5. And now it is equal to 0. So I haven't done anything spectacular. I just set my equation equal to 0, which means I had to subtract that 3x that was once there. So now I'm ready to find A, B, and C. And to find A, B, and C, you simply look in the place of A. So I have written, I've color-coded in blue where A, B, and C should be. So we can see that A should always be next to the x squared term. So 2 is next to the a squared term. So 2 is A. And then B, what is next to the x term? So down here, what's next to the x, or the coefficient of x, is negative 3. Always take that sign in front. So B equals negative 3. And then C is your constant. So it doesn't have a variable. It stands alone, and that is a positive 5. So C equals 5. And that is it for that first one. All we are working on is identifying A, B, and C. Any questions about that? Okay, I'm going to go to number 2. So number 2 also is not equal to 0. So I want to subtract 6. And this time, there is a like term on the left side of my equation. So I can combine that with the 4 when I rewrite my equation in standard form. So I have x squared plus 8x. And then I'm going to combine the 4 with the negative 6, which is going to give me negative 2. So here's where I'm looking for a. So I'm looking for the coefficient of x squared, or the number in front of x squared. So here I don't see anything. And this is where it gets tricky, because a lot of people like to say it's 0. It is not 0, because if 0 were the coefficient, then 0 times x squared would be 0, and this would not even exist. It would just start at 8x. So it's not 0, but since I do have one x squared term here, the coefficient for just x squared would be 1. So a is equal to 1 here. B, what's next to x, is 8. And c, with no variable, which is a constant, is negative 2. All right, so you are going to do the last one on your own. Be careful, it is not in standard form yet. So the first thing we want to do to get it into standard form is we want to distribute that 3. Since this is 3 times, because the parentheses tell me to multiply, there's no sign in between. So I'm going to multiply this 3 by everything inside of there. So first I'm going to get 3x squared. And I'm going to multiply 3 times negative 2x, which gives me negative 6x. Then I'm going to multiply 3 by 7, which gives me a positive 21, equals 0. So now this is the equation that I'm going to use. It is already in standard form, right? I have my x squared, I have my x, and then I have my constant. So it's in standard form, and it's equal to 0. Your job is to find out what A, B, and C are.